It doesn't get any better than that. G1 and G2 back again for our favourite part of the week on Football Nation Radio.
It's my only part of the week, just for the record.
Well, I'm going to give you a bit more time to enjoy yourself for the next 2 or 3 weeks, because I'm going to go and find something else to do, just to make you feel like
you're on suspension.
You work it. I would love to be on suspension as long as I get every week a chance to hear the story of someone like William Billy Ray.
We've got another jet, another
he
superstar.
Is a superstar, and not only that, I want to know, and we'll get to it eventually.
We will.
But why did he stop playing when he was 105?
57.
50. No one plays till they're 57.
This young fella
You
did.
play till 60. Make it meaningful.
He got sloppy towards the end, apparently.
Can I take a moment?
Absolutely.
If you wouldn't mind, on behalf of the team at Football Nation Radio,
Yep.
we got word from Teresa Dees, who was another one of our pioneers, great goalkeeper, played for the Matildas rather. She tells us that another Australian women's football pioneer, Margaret Roy, has passed away.
Her mentor.
Yeah, her mentor. Meant an awful lot to her. Long battle against lung cancer. Margaret passed away. The team at FNR would like to extend deeper sympathies to not only her family but her friends. I'm hearing that the funeral for Margaret Roy will be held 10:30 Monday morning at the North Springvale Crematorium. So not often that we start
Somber note.
on a somber note, but a terrific player. She was a marvellous character and meant the world to Teresa.
Which is more important to us.
Yeah, and she was fantastic for us, and we wish you a poignant day, because I'm sure there'll be many memories, and you don't celebrate in a funeral, but you do remember the special times and the legacy that they're left behind. Just as this guy, our special guest, Billy, or is
Yes,
it William?
George.
Sir William Ray.
Billy.
It's
No,
Billy.
Sir William.
Yes, George.
Tell me something. Get nice and close to that microphone. Because you see, because you've got a
Softly
moustache
spoken.
and a beard, the microphone can't quite cope with these sensitivities. You've got to project a little bit. But quite honestly, it's a thrill to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Started off at Harcoa. That was one of the clubs I played against in Sydney, by the way. I was a Sydney boy. So we played Wentworth Park, and we shared the ground. I played for Panhellenic, and our co-tenants were Harcoa. So what was it like playing for Melbourne, Harcoa?
It was wonderful.
Years ago.
It was a wonderful time. Some good players. Johnny Anderson was the coach. John O'Neill played. Hugh Murney.
Is this Shagger?
Shuggy Murney.
Oh!
He was playing there at the time.
What position did Shagger play?
Midfield.
Wow.
When I
Because
was there.
in telling the Moreland City story, Shagger Murney, you can't get away from him. You know, he was such a character, and he obviously had talent as a player and as a coach.
Well, he coached for a long time, but down at there, I think he lasted this season, and then he went over to Albion Rovers to coach there.
And you followed him a little bit later on, did you?
About 18 months later. 18 months, yeah.
What, short attention span? Or they had better food on?
Oh, no. I just... it was the State League, George.
I know.
And it just wasn't quite good enough in the State League at that time. The standard was exceptional.
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 And what was the money like?
Hakoa,
Yeah. Come on.
no comment.
No, the tax man's not listening.
No, they were okay. They took care of us. And it was nice to play there. But as I say, I wasn't quite good enough.
The reason I ask the question is because last week we had Ulysses Kokinos,
Yes.
and he was happy telling us it was about 1,500 pounds, wasn't it?
It was on about $1,100 in the early 70s.
That's extraordinary.
We weren't getting anything near that, I can assure you.
Maybe collectively. Maybe collectively.
Probably not.
Probably not. No. All right.
George too, George Consanis, you have a particular way of starting the Pioneers every week. I think we should go back to the tried and proven way.
We'll stick to the tribe, but I'm going to add another question, George.
Oh.
I'm going to go out on a limb. Our normal question, Billy, is to our guests. Our first one is, what is your very first football memory?
Where I lived in Dundee, opposite where I lived, there was an area where we used to go and play soccer. And I remember going over there playing soccer, and the World Cup had just finished, and the guys were talking about Vava, Pele, Garinchia. So it was the 58 World Cup. So it must have been about 9 at the time.
Yeah.
And so that was the first thing, and all the older guys. And that was the way you learned. It wasn't coaches. You learned from the older players. They taught you. You might have been playing with 15-year-olds. You'll know
They
your
took
might
you
be
under
now.
their wing.
Not so much on the wing.
Elbow?
A bit rough, you know. If you start doing anything.
Did they have sharp elbows?
Oh, they always had.
Like Danny Ward's. And the other question I'm going to add to our list of first
Here
questions.
we go.
No, this is
revolutionary stuff, William.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm aware of this.
Actually your very first family memory.
Oh, very first family memory. Oh, that's a difficult one. Probably playing soccer with my brothers. I've got 4 brothers, 2 sisters, and played soccer with the 2 older brothers. I never played soccer with the younger ones. I never even seen
Did
the
the
younger
sisters play with you?
They never played soccer.
Never played soccer?
No. The elder of the 2 sisters.
Because Teresa Dees did. She played against family.
Well, the elder of the 2 sisters, her son played for Dunfermline. He came out here, played for Pines when they got
Yep.
to the final tournament. Mark Miller, a very, very good player. But no, all the brothers, we all played. The eldest one, he played for a long, long time. Then myself, the 2 younger ones. The one just above me, John, he was probably the best of the players, but he didn't have the passion and sort of gave up when he was about 16. Come back a couple of times, but no.
Where did the inspiration come from to play the game? Was it expected of everyone to play the game in Scotland?
In Scotland, there was nothing much else to do. It was,
Unless you had a golf club.
Oh well, I never played golf. So, and my dad played. He had, I remember him watching him pump the balls up. He only had one arm, so he'd pump the balls up, and we'd go and watch him play soccer, and it was interesting. Occasionally we'd take the throw-ins, and then the referee would say, foul throw. 2 hands on the ball. I don't have 2 hands. That was his answer. But no, it was playing soccer with the brothers. There was always a.
So there's a big family influence on you
Oh,
getting
yes,
into football.
yes.
Yeah. All right. So, strangely enough, like most of the pioneers we've had on here who've immigrated, whether it be Scotland, England, or Croatia.
Croatia,
Yeah,
correct.
yeah, we've had. Most of them did come out here for football or soccer, whichever issue. But you actually came out here for work, and soccer was
That's
the
correct,
add-on. So
yeah.
tell us why and how that came about.
Well, in Dundee's was very famous for textiles, jute textiles, and it was the carpet backings, hessian bags, that type of thing. And the industry collapsed over about a 3-4 month period with polythene coming in, polyplastics and all that type of thing. So there was no work, and I thought, I was walking down the street with my wife, and I said, there's a sign, come to sunny Australia. So we filled up the forms, and then 4 months later we were here.
As quick as that.
Yes, and it was difficult for the family. We're leaving the Dundee train station, and my daughter was still on the platform. We were trying to drag her through the window. Our other grandfather wouldn't let go.
It was a big call for a 21-year-old.
I was 21. My wife
Yeah.
was not quite 20. She
Yeah.
was still only 19. My daughter was maybe 2.5.
Okay, so there was some family resistance to the move.
From my wife's side of the
Yeah.
family, but we've come here and we've enjoyed ourselves.
Made yourself at home. Okay, so you came here to find work
Yep.
effectively. Did you find work very quickly? How was that?
Well,
Where
I
did
find
you
work-
end up? Where did you end up in Melbourne first?
Down St Kilda way, Balaclava.
Balaclava, yeah.
Down Balaclava way. There's a lot of the Dundee people lived in there. John Gardner, Jimmy Smart, Tommy Fox, Dennis Boland,
Yep.
Billy Millen.
Every week we have the Pioneers on Football Nation Radio, and every week Johnny Gardner gets not only a mention but an honourable mention.
Honourable man.
Very
Tell
good.
us about him.
Wonderful player, an exceptional player. I remember once I got playing for Hakoah, after one of the games, the Hakoah boys were bagging Johnny, who was just playing George Cross. And I says, the guys just gave us a soccer lesson and we're sitting in here criticising him. I don't understand that part. He was a wonderful player, very, very talented, very, very good coach. And he was always very generous with me and my family. So
What brought Johnny Gardner down under if he had so much talent? And again, we're reminded constantly, every week we have the Pioneers, we had some fantastic footballers come down under. Now, I know in Sydney, Leo Baumgartner from Vienna, Rapid Vienna, came down under with a bunch of his mates, and boy, did they make a difference to New South Wales football.
In my opinion, you look at it at that time, you had Johnny Gardner, Jimmy Smart, Jimmy Rooney, Jimmy Mackay, and the list goes on. As you said, there's plenty of them. I think at that time, quite often after the World Cup, everybody then wants to copy how the World Cup was done. Don't forget, in '66 England won it with their wingless wonders, and it was all about hard work. And I think what happened then, there's a lot of countries and a lot of clubs is that's the way to go, and it was hard work. And I think somewhere along the line, guys like John Gardner, Rooney, Smarty would push the set too technical, maybe not enough work rate, and maybe not as physical as you. And that's just how I've seen it.
That's an interesting perspective.
Very interesting.
We've not heard before.
I thought it might have been economic reasons. The countries where they came from, were, it was tough to get a job or to hold on to a job. They were coming back from difficult times, and there might have been better opportunities. I mean, we've heard from many of our guests. They arrived in Melbourne, and it was so pristine. It was cold, but it was clear, and there was so much to do.
Well, I worked in a company, as I said, a company called Cairds, and John Gardner worked there for a little while. And John came to me one night and asked him, Billy, if they phone up, tell them I'm working overtime. And I think it might have been East Fife. And I'm like, are you sure? I said, Johnny, aren't you supposed to be playing Celtic this weekend in the Cup? Yeah, but just tell them I'm working overtime. and I just laughed because
Great character.
Great character, and very intelligent when it comes to coaching.
Gee.
He was very good.
Well, you can't knock that when every week, has there been someone who's not mentioned Johnny Gardner?
No, I'll check the.
Teresa probably.
No, I think she mentioned it. I think she mentioned him as another mentor. So no, every week he's been mentioned.
Fantastic.
So so your family has arrived. You're looking for work. You've found work. Now let's get into the interesting part. How did you get into football once you've arrived in Melbourne?
And how colour of all things.
Well, my wife.
Location.
The wife's still not forgiven me. We arrived and we were taken to Maribyrnong Hostel.
Yep.
The tin shed, a lamp up there somewhere. So I said to the wife, Laurie Wiley, a good friend of mine, and Billy Millin, we're going down to Elwood to play a game of soccer. We want to come. Yes, I left the wife there with my daughter. 2 hours into Australia, so went down there and we had a game of football. Dennis Bowman was there, Tommy Fox and so on, Gardner, Rooney, all the Dundee boys, and we had a game. And then the boys took me back to the hostel. And so because I come friends with Dennis Bowman and his wife Brenda, wonderful people.
A great goalkeeper for Footscray JST.
I keep telling you about goalkeepers, they're special people.
He was at Hakoah with me. Dennis, he was at Hakoah. So him and I, the boys said, well, where are you going to go play soccer? And somebody had mentioned Hakoah, and it was close to us. We didn't have a car. So we walked down and went and had a chat to them, and we trained. Johnny Anderson was the coach. We'd done the training, and then on the way out they said, well, we want the 2 years to sign. This is what we're offering. And Dennis and I said, no, we want more. We didn't know what we're talking about. So Dennis and I walked about 100 metres down the road. Come on, let's go back. And then that's how I started playing for Hakoah.
Oh, fantastic.
And it was just wonderful. It's wonderful down there, and some great players down there. Michael Mandalis was still there at the time, and he was a character. But Stevie Gasby was playing.
Yep.
David Baker, who was a wonderful player. Who
were the people you hated to play against?
Well, I didn't play in that first 2 years. I didn't play many games in the National League. I maybe played, in the State League. I maybe played over the 2 seasons, maybe about 12, 14 games.
Okay.
But I remember playing against JST, and John Anderson says, I want you to mark this Tommy Stankovic. He's only that little fella.
Gee.
But he's 40-year-old. And I'm like, 40.
I've got him.
At 40-year-old,
I've got him.
you should be in bed with your feet up.
Hang on. Says Billy.
That's late.
A young Billy. It's a young Billy.
And I went out, No, I still don't recognise Tommy because all I see was his backside going away from me and he destroyed me.
He was 40, huh?
Oh, he was,
So we had seen better days, or he had seen better days,
Yeah.
but he still had that much
Serious
quality, huh?
quality player. And you know, I was saying to George earlier, and what a team they were. You know, Frank Micic, Branko Bulovic, you know, what a quality team. And they're one of the best teams I've seen out here. Just the natural skill, and the way they played, they didn't always win. It was just the open attacking football, left themselves open at the back occasionally, but what a
But
team
great
to watch.
ad-libbing going forward, huh?
Great to watch them going forward. And then
Even
guys-
as an opponent.
Oh, yeah, and
Well,
then-
in Sydney, Prague had that reputation. They had some fantastic attacking weapons. Roy Blitz on the left could just waltz past defenders, and then that precise cross, like so many good wingers tend to do. And you couldn't miss the goals from where they positioned the ball.
Well, that's Zariah, Joe Piccioni, all quality players. Andy Catty, Jim Criaras was the centre back. Great players. And Jimmy Melisavage was a goalkeeper at the
Yep.
time before he injured his arm, and then Dennis took over. But yeah, great team to watch. And yeah, he was. I'll never forget that game.
And who were the big characters, larger than life,
Oh,
that you ran away from?
I remember playing George Cross at Middle Park, and you know when you come at the Hellas dressing room, down bottom right hand corner, and I'm chasing Johnny Sanchez. He was player coach for George Cross, as you know, and I'm running, and I've just got close to him, and he just threw his hand back straight in my face, and I've just kept going, took him to the ground. And the referee come run over, right? But the place is full of George Cross supporters. How cool, we had our two over there.
On a good day.
On a good day. All jokes aside.
Same thing in Sydney. No, no.
But the referee come over, and on those days was that good big, right, you off. I said, I'm not going anywhere. I was just defending myself. And the linesman went, referee, Johnny hit Billy first. And the referee's looking around at the crowd and goes, okay, you two, if you do anything like that again, you're off. Now,
Smart.
I'm walking back to the halfway line, and this is the biggest insult I've had. A guy, a Maltese guy shouting, Billy Ray, you red-headed Scottish Jew bastard. And I
Jesus,
just
did he
looked-
miss anything?
And I
He
said-
got you covered.
I said, is there anything else you want?
There's nothing left.
Hang on, the NCIP policy, I've just got to go back and just check all that again.
And what's his name? Johnny Sanchez now. And the game finished, and that was the beauty of the game then. George and I were talking earlier. The game finished, and the first one over Johnny Sanchez now, shaking hands, walking off. And there was no malice. That was just, the game
It was
played.
highly competitive,
Oh,
but I
very
think you're right.
competitive,
No malice.
No malice.
That,
just,
that makes a big difference.
Oh, and John was a very good player, not to forget. But in those days, a player coach in the State League was very unusual.
But you gave us an insight too to what a good referee does. You sense the moment.
Yep.
Yeah. How bad was it? Did this young man deserve to be, or this young woman deserve to be sent off? Today it's almost like I want to do it by the book. You know,
Or
there
was
is
it,
no book.
do I
You've
want
got
to
to
start a
feel
riot?
it. I mean, this is my trouble with
Common
refereeing
sense, common
or
sense.
officiating today. Whether you're a linesman or whether you are, a referee, if you want to hold on to your position, then you do it to the best of your ability and you feel it.
There was a referee called Jeff Harrison.
Otherwise,
I don't know if you
VAR
guys know.
comes in and that's got no feelings.
Jeff Harrison, he was a sergeant in the Victorian Police Force. And we're playing a game up at Box Hill, Aston for Albion Rovers, and it was getting a bit naughty. And I turned around, and I don't swear these days, but on the soccer park I did. This referee, get an effing grip with this game. He went, it's a good idea. Here, name. So the game finished, and we go in the dressing room, and it was that old white building at the top of Box Hill's ground at Wembley Park. And the referee shared the dressing room. So cold, terrible winter day, and I've stepped out of showers. Jeff come in, Jeff, shower. She says, thanks, Billy. I turned all the hot off, and he walked in. She's like, oh. I said, sorry about that, Jeff. Accidents do happen. He went, no problem, Billy. Don't worry about it. But 4 weeks later, I'm playing a game. Jeff's refereeing. 5 minutes. You here. What is it? His name. Billy Ray. Number 9. No, good. And what we get booked for? Don't turn the effing hot water off next time. What do you say?
Oh,
That's
I want
quality.
more of that.
That's quality.
That's real football.
Or your mate, Chris Bainbridge. I'm
Yeah.
refereeing Monday, and Chris made I said, hey, Chris, some mistake that. He went, yes, I've made one. How many have you made again? Shut up.
You see, that's
Chris
That's
was
fantastic.
a great man manager, and he
Absolutely.
knew how to play. And he had the feel.
There's
You
nothing-
can't teach that.
Nothing wrong
You
with
can't
it.
teach that.
You're right, George.
Can't teach
I
it.
played with a boy at Dundee. He got booked and sent off every other week. He says, that's it. And he says, I'm not playing anymore.
You shouldn't
gonna
talk
take up-
about John Markovsky like
No,
that.
I'm taking up refereeing. Jerry Conley. And how good was Jerry? What a referee.
He
But
was
then-
he was
Because he
good,
understood.
but he told everyone where to go to.
Oh, yeah.
But he understood.
As a
the-
referee.
That's right. I heard him one day. You two effing heroes, get over here. I'm taking my wife out tonight. It's our anniversary. If I have to sit down and write a wrong effing report, I'll be an effing bad one. Now get it.
Yeah, that's more
I was
like a
starting
conversation with Jerry.
shaking. It was what the players got the message. Perry Moore was the same for a long, long time. That was the way Perry refereed. And the players respected it. And you got on with it. You're not going to stand there, let's be honest. What right would I have to stand there and argue with Chris with the level of refereeing that he's done and the respect you hold him in? And then you come off the park afterwards and you buy a drink and have a drink with the
And
referees.
turn off the hot water.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was fun. But you could sit down with these guys and talk to them. I don't see people talking to the referees now after the games, unfortunately.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
we've kept them apart, haven't we?
Well,
we've created a
we haven't.
distance.
I think they keep their own distance because they haven't got the ability then to be told. You know, maybe you did get that wrong, or you know, what I mean, there's a bit of sensitivity there, and I think
Good point, George.
And for their improvement, I reckon they should be able to go into the bar and cop a bit of criticism, and then they might learn from it as well and realise that they are upsetting people during the game by being too correct.
The pontification is coming from George Katsanis.
My editorial for the year.
Senior member of this twosome, and our special guest on the Pioneers, William Billy Ray.
Welcome back to the Pioneers on Thursday night. You're with G1 and G2 and our special guest Billy Ray. Billy,
Yes,
Alcoa,
George. Yes.
and then the great Albion Rovers.
Albion Rovers, that's right.
Tell us why you went to Albion and tell us a little bit about your time there.
Well, I went to Albion because Hugh Money invited us over with Joe Docherty, team manager, and a very good friend Dennis Boland was playing there.
Yeah.
And I didn't drive. I didn't start driving until I was 30, so I would do. I get a lift there and back
Yeah.
until he did decide to go to
A
Japan.
late bloomer.
That stuffed it up. But anyway, yeah, so I went over there and played there, and for the next 4 or 5 years, I thoroughly enjoyed myself there. Some wonderful players there at the time.
There was a machine, a producing machine of footballers out there. So tell us some of the young kids, especially that came through there,
Well,
especially while you were there.
after the second year, I think it was Mickey De Silva come through.
Yeah.
Young Michael, wonderful player. And then Billy MacArthur took over at one stage as the coach, and we played this young 15-year-old goalkeeper, and we won the cup. And then we played him again the following year when he was 16 and won the league, and it was Jeff Oliver. And,
George's ears pricked as soon as you said goalkeeper.
and then the young centre back in the reserves that year, in both of those years, was Stevie Blair.
Stevie Blair, not the same Stevie Blair who went at South Melbourne Allen,
Yes, same boy.
who refuses to come on the Pioneers but listens every
Well,
week.
I was talking to, my son was
He
talking
gets
to him last
nervous.
week.
That's what it is.
In fact, he's a lovely guy. He actually donated the trophies for my under-13 team.
I know too well how generous young Stevie
He's a
is.
wonderful guy and a wonderful player. So we had those young players in there. We also, the first year I was there, excuse me, Ernie Ackerley had come over to play there, and
Okay.
Ernie was far from being fit. But I never ceased to amaze me. You get the ball, you're in trouble, and there's Ernie. Give me the ball. He's always free, always there. But Hugh Money figured out that myself and there's a boy called Billy Kane, we played 4-2-4. So Billy and I were box to box, side to side all day. It was great. It's just, I loved playing there. Gordon Cameron was there. I said Dennis was the goalkeeper.
Our old friend Georgie Marcoussis.
George
he came through
Marcoussis,
there.
he come there
Yeah.
later on along with Jimmy De Paris.
Yep.
And they played there for a number of years. Who else was there?
Tell me a little bit
Andy
about
Savage.
Georgie. Give me some dirt on Georgie.
No. George is a wonderful player. Would have a game at training, and 5-a-side, 6-a-side.
This is my first coach
Yes.
who was a pretty strong disciplinarian, so yeah.
And George would stand up at one goal, and the boys would kick the ball down to him, and he'd tap it across the line.
So just wait there and just
yeah,
tap
yeah.
it. No
and,
work.
And the players used to say to me, Billy, why don't you have a word with him? I said, why? If you were that good, I'd let you stand up there. He was just quality. And some of the things he'd done on the soccer field, like he's running back towards his own goal, two players chasing him, drag back and going in the opposite directions, the strikers are running past them. He was just brilliant to play with. And,
Imagine it. He had a character.
He was, I think he was silky skilled as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, very skillful. And then you've got guys like Jimmy de Paris, like, I don't, you know Jimmy, he was a small stature. But Jesus Christ, can he jump to head a ball? He would just sort of hang there and he'd head it. And he was a tough little bugger. Although we went to Ballarat to play a game once, and the referee had to stop the game. I had to take Jimmy off because he was so cold.
Cold.
Freezing.
Somebody else on.
Now, tell me.
Now,
Okay, Judy.
Rind Alexander has written in on
Yeah.
Facebook. He says, one match in the late football years, you were coaching Parkmore.
Yes.
Was that it? Another of the great Hungarian clubs of the past. When the first player against Camberwell, he went on to play at least 10 minutes in second half before the end of the match. The ball was in the hand of the Camberwell keeper. Didn't want to kick it out. He did it, but it was a very low ball. Billy was running towards the goalie. The ball hit him in the chest and finished in the net. Old Fox had the last laugh. He reckons you're a great man.
Alex
Do you
is a-
remember any of that?
Yes. I think it was
Craziness.
But yeah, Alex is a wonderful young man. He was at Blackmore with me, and I used to tease him. I went in one day, and he'll be offended for this. I went in one day and he said to me, "Hey, Billy," I said, "What is it?" "No, coach." He said, "Coach, I think I've caught the cold." I said, "That's wonderful. I didn't think you could catch anything." He's a goalkeeper. He said, "Billy, that's not fair."
Tell me about Ken Murphy. He's written here, a weaver, a gentleman, and a great fun guy. Good on you, Billy.
Well, explain what a weaver is for our audience.
Come on.
Because Dundee, where I was brought up, it's Jute Industries, and the nickname for the Dundee boys were the Weavers.
The Weavers.
And so we had our own team there for a while, and it was Dennis Bowman, myself, Billy Murray, John Gardner, Kenny Murphy, Joe Tront, Davy Brogan,
Wow,
Tommy Fox.
that's a team and a half.
And Jimmy Smart, Jimmy Rooney. It was just...
Who's
and I went-
who were Victorian
And when they
football?
were having these games and I went down, I was like, oh, I might get to sit on the bench. I was like, I never ever thought I'd be good enough to get a game. But I always got a game and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was great fun playing with them. Imagine going on the soccer field and playing with Smarty, Gardner, Rooney, Tronte. All exceptionally talented
Since
players.
you've mentioned it, Joe Trump. Describe Joe as a player and as a bloke.
As a bloke, you could meet a nicer guy.
Yeah.
He was just an incredible bloke. And as I said, I shouldn't say, he was telling me that in that game against Cosmos, about 10 minutes to go, 5 minutes to go, and he stopped running and just jogged alongside Big Franz Beck. Can I get your shirt? And he's got it, and his wife's got it at home, all signed and everything. And I think she's the idea they're going to pass it on to young Archie. That's his grandson. And Joe was a quality player.
Well, we had Paul Wade for years
Yes.
tell us stories about the time he played against Maradona, and he had sized up Maradona, and he said, "I want your shirt after the game," and of course Maradona's looking at him. So again, you're telling us about an earlier
Yeah.
10 years or 15 years before that, and the great game. The Cosmos were in Australia playing a number of teams, among them the Victorians,
Yeah.
and they played in New South Wales. I remember it was standing room only
Absolutely.
at the Sydney Showground. The lights went off accidentally, something happened, and then when they came on about 18 seconds later, people had jumped over fences, broken the security. It was the most amazing, and we're talking about a side that included Georgie Chinaglia, the
Yeah,
great
Nieskins.
Hilaire, Nieskins, and the great Kaiser himself, Beckendar.
Yeah.
Well, in that particular game, Joe got the shirt, and I remember everybody raving about how well Johnny Gardner played that night.
Fantastic.
John
Yeah.
was just exceptional that night. John always played well, but again, he just went to another level. And yeah,
See, that's what good players can do.
exactly. And the crowd was magnificent down at the old Olympic Park. It was
It can be electric there, can it? Sorry, it was electric.
Yes.
I can remember a game there between Sydney Olympic. They'd come down to play. I can't remember whether it must have been a cup game of some description, an NSL Cup game perhaps. And they were playing South Melbourne. 5-3 it was, and Kimon Talladoro scored 3 goals. And we had 2 cameras in those real television days when they had the money to put the cameras, and we took them into the crowd. We didn't hoist them up. And if you look at the pictures today, they're fantastic because you see there thousands and thousands of heads, and the energy and the excitement just ripple through the ground. And we use those pictures for the Widewater Sports.
Well,
It was just great
Olympic
time.
Park was wonderful. Middle Park was wonderful. In the early days, when we played at 6 grounds,
Okay.
Middle Park, Olympic Park, Shintler, Box Hill, Wilhelmina, and Raleigh Reserve.
And which was your favourite?
I preferred Middle Park. I thought Olympic Park was just too big and quite heavy at times. But funny story at Olympic Park, I was watching Box Hill playing Greenville in the Cup final, and it was George Murray was the coach of Box Hill, and we had a long ball down the park. The Box Hill goalkeepers picked it up. Tommy Cummins about 5-6 yards offside. Linesman's put the flag up. The referee, I think it was John Fraser, play on. So the goalkeeper picked up and looked, and he picked up and he looked around and went, what is it? And Tommy Cummins says, offside over there. So he threw the ball out. Tommy. George Murray, and I'm sure it was Tommy. George Murray looked, turned around, I was standing behind him at the dugout then, he went, Billy, did I just see that? I said, yes, you did. I think I ended up losing the game 1-0.
That's our
And that's
wee
Tommy.
Tommy.
That was just shrewd
Cheek.
gamesmanship and cheek, eh?
And then the
One-upmanship.
the goalkeeper saying, the referee, he says, I'm the referee. Tommy,
Play to the whistle.
Play
Play to the
whistle.
whistle.
There was no whistle. He was brilliant.
Fantastic stuff.
There was the old Melbourne Hungarian, no
Yep.
longer exists unfortunately, but some truly great players played there.
How did you get from Albion Rovers to Hungary?
The true story.
Your
We were playing
wife
Box
did it.
Hill, something like that. Anyway,
Oh.
Box Hill, we played Box Hill at Albion in the final year I was there. They were second top, we were top, and we beat them 5 or 6-0. Big Billy McCormick, Kit Greehan, and all these guys, and we absolutely tore them apart. And after the game, the wife hadn't come to many games that year, and on the way home she says to me, I think you should leave the club now. I said, why would I want to do that? We're going to win the league. She says, I know. But at the end of the season, they're going to get rid of Billy MacArthur, the coach, Joe Dockeray, Jimmy and George, and you. I said, but Billy MacArthur promised them they'd win the league within 3 years. You won the cup the first, he's won in the league in the second. Oh, the thing he says, smack arse. I said, oh, and she said, I've had enough of Joe. I said, and Jimmy and George, that's...
How did your wife know all this?
She just sits and listens and observes.
Ah.
You see, that's the beauty of
Very good.
having a covert agent in the stands.
So
Yeah.
she turned around and she says, they didn't like the Greeks. I said, oh. I said, then why would they get rid of me? I said, some of those people think you've got bigger in the club, so therefore they want rid of you. I said, that was, and she was right.
Spot on.
Everyone else is gone. And Melbourne, Hungary come in, paid the money to take me across theirs. And as we were talking earlier,
Where was their home ground?
Middle Park.
Okay, they shared the
There's
ground. Okay.
Middle Park was shared by South Melbourne, Hakoah and Melbourne, Hungary. So I went down there, kind of contract to go over. Now, Melbourne, Hungary, from all accounts, had lost all the players. Their under-18 become their seniors, their under-16 become their reserves. And then the seniors, you had Ernie Todd, the 2 Dronosky boys, Tibor and Paul,
Yeah.
wonderful players. Paul, I know, Philip Diamataris come along.
Yeah, Phil Diamataris, yeah.
Stefan Jarina, a Yugoslav boy, wonderful,
What
wonderful
fascinates me, for a weaver, your pronunciation skills, I mean, you could almost get a job at the SBS doing the news. Multicultural coverage.
I
Could
don't
easily,
think so.
could easily get a job.
Easy.
You're mentioning some great names,
Yeah.
and I'm lucky enough to have seen photos of that team and
Yeah.
also studied on social media or kept an eye on it. The comments from the boys that played in those teams or their families or whatever, how proud they were of what they achieved as a young up-and-coming team. Because like you said, the under-16s or the under-18s become the senior team. So it was a forced youth policy, but it worked.
But it goes to show you what, well, you give kids an opportunity,
Great.
that's what happens.
Correct.
Or can happen.
Yeah.
There was two boys there that was with us, the two Mandalore brothers.
Oh, the Mandalore
Yes.
boys,
And
then
they-
that one, I think they ended up in Hollywood.
Yeah, and the
Both
two of them-
did,
at
Costas
the end of
and
the
Louis.
season, Costas says, Louis and I are going over to America to do acting. He says, I wish you all the best. And he said, thanks. He said, everybody else thinks we're being silly. I said, no, if you're going to dream big, go and have a go.
And they did it.
Exactly.
Both did it.
Picket Fences was, I think it's Lewis Mandalore, wasn't it?
I'm not too sure.
No,
which one's-
Costas
Costas,
played
yeah.
both pretty good.
That's right.
Just,
Picket Fences was a hit for a number of years.
The mobsters, yeah, they did well.
and as I say,
So they must have done all their training in Melbourne for the mobsters.
And so Ken Contra was the coach. He took me over there. And as I spoke to George earlier, we won the league the first year. And I said to Ken, we can't go into the next league with the same players. And Ken wanted to give them the opportunity, and it didn't work. And halfway through the season, or maybe about 8 games in, the club got Ken to leave, and then come Ciro Cerkovic. And what a gentleman, and what a coach. And the very first game, he told us, 2 o'clock Saturday, so we're all down there. We're outside watching the reserve game, and team manager comes out, coach wants you. So we walk inside, he goes, excuse me, he says, you think I'm shepherd? I said, sorry? You think I'm shepherd? Man, collect sheep? No, no, certainly not. Why? He said, when I say 2 o'clock, I mean 2 o'clock in my dressing room. I not round you up like shepherd.
So he wants you in here.
Yes. And that was it.
I don't want to follow you around.
And then we come to playing only a relegation, and we're about to play Western Suburbs. And I said to George earlier, Apollano was playing for him, good team, top of the league.
Mini.
And 2 o'clock, door closed. 3 senior players, starting players, not in there. Ciro, a couple of minutes later, door. Players come in, coach says, go out, I do not need you, closed door. Really, get 3 players from the reserve, so I take 3 players from the reserve, left them with 8, because they'd already used themselves. And I used to sit down with Ciro, I said, why do you do these things? He said, Billy, if we don't have discipline, we have nothing. And he was wonderful, and he used to talk with a whisper in the dressing room.
You know, they say it's much more impactful,
Yep.
the words, if they come from moments of silence.
Yep.
That's why if you whisper, if you do it with care and precision, it can be a weapon. It's like a big stick.
Oh, that's right, and Ciro came in and he was magnificent. And Melbourne had a reunion about 6-7 years ago, and I went up there. And Jimmy really introduced me to Raleigh, Razik, Adi Bonnie, and the 4 of us were sitting at the table.
Yeah, a couple of footballers there and the
Talking.
coaches.
So we're having this wonderful conversation, and Raleigh was just absolutely gentle with me. And we got up, and Tommy Stankovic come walking over.
Oh, the 40-year-old.
And Raleigh just looked, Jesus Christ, Tommy, I hardly recognise you. Jeez, you've shot up.
Must
No.
be those high heels.
And I looked at her, I said, oh, Raleigh. And Tommy says, you think you funny man, you know funny man. I just, Raleigh, leave me out of this.
Some great characters.
Oh, they
Now
were
you just
brilliant.
described it in that match. You drew 1-1 with Western Suburbs,
Yeah.
right? But give me the description you gave me in the room about Mimi's goal. Mimi Papiano.
The ball was crossed over, and Mimi jumped and headed the ball down at an angle and hit the underside of the bar. And he was only a tiny little man. And I'm looking at, my goodness. And Tibor Danovsky, who's about 6'7", is like, Billy, I couldn't get to him.
Wow.
But then I said to George earlier, I said to my players, they were all panicking because he's such a reputation. And so I was getting the ball and just showing it and getting it back and inviting them on, and they're not. And I had to explain to the players, it doesn't matter how good he is, if we get the ball on the ground and pass it around him, he
You
can't do
take the
anything.
heat out
That's
of
right.
the action, yeah.
And then after the game, I was sitting with Jimmy to Paris, and he introduced me to Jimmy, and I said to Jimmy, please, get my apologies to him. I wasn't trying to make a fool of him. That's not what I was doing. I was just trying to explain. He says, he understands. He said to me in the dressing room, very smart man. He was settling these players down.
Settling it down.
But it was wonderful playing with all those young players.
The great players,
Yeah.
The word that runs across the ground is "Don't startle the horses." Yeah,
Good
and that was
word.
what you were doing
Yeah.
for the young ones.
Oh yes.
Yeah, yeah. The really good players, when you see
No.
them, it's like that golden line that you hear time and time again. The special players are the ones that stand up when it's the hottest in the kitchen and everyone else is losing their heads, and the really special ones are sitting there and they're just picking the pass, or as they say, seizing the moment to provide a lesson.
Well, the one sad thing I think about Melbourne, Hungary, was the year after I left, was when young Ernie taught the goalkeeper. He broke his leg in a few places, and I would put him up there equivalent to, at the same age as Jeff Oliver. And I
Wow.
thought he was, and he was taller and slim. He was a wonderful goalkeeper.
And he never came back from the break.
He come back, but
They're
he
not the
was
same.
never quite the same.
Yeah.
But what a goalkeeper! And
Wow.
a lovely, lovely young man. I met with him at a reunion a few years back with Melbourne, Hungary, and just an incredible guy.
Yeah, well,
But they've lost some great
you're
players.
blessed. We've been blessed, actually, and this is what the pioneers and George's idea from the beginning was, that we wanted to show to each generation of football fans that, you know what, the generation before you and the one before that and the one before that, they cared and loved and played with the same passion as you think you're playing now. They played with a rare elan, we wish we had HD television just to be able to show them all that, you know what, you look back, you should look back with respect, you should look back with pride, and you should look back with reverence, because there were some marvellous people, great characters,
Especially
who've made a huge difference, and you were one of them.
We're talking.
That's why I'm sitting here and I've got, it's got from Nicky Ray. So proud of all that you've achieved and the esteem that you're held in. As good a coach as you were and still are, you're a better dad. Love and respect always. Thanks for all those who've been posting and all the kind words. It means an awful lot to read them. That's from Nicky. So you've done a pretty good job, Dad.
Well,
He's done a great job.
3 children, 14 grandchildren,
My goodness, prolific too.
5 great grandchildren, with another 2 due in the next 2 months.
And none of your handiwork.
Can I go back
Oh,
to
bless you.
when we played? When that game was New York Cosmos, I mentioned to George earlier. During the week, they had a practice match down at Olympic Park. We only had 18 players. They invited myself and 3 other boys down, and I went down. And after it, the coach said to me, "Well, what do you think?" I said, "Thank you very much, but I'm never going to play for Victoria. I'm not that good, and I'm a bit past it." But anyway, I said, "Why didn't you invite?" I said, "Let's use the 4 boys at Box Hill I was playing with, Scott Patterson, Mickey Valentine, Pedro Ramos, Ian Woodhouse, and how much more it would have meant to them than to say someone like myself.
Mm.
As much as I enjoyed
Because
it.
you were a much older player at
Much
the
older,
time.
and I would have preferred that. And I love seeing young players playing, give them the opportunity, and and that's why Box Hill had such a good year.
Tell us about your time at Box Hill. It's such another great factory of producing footballers and good people. Tell us about your time there and your memories.
And they still seem to be doing it.
Yeah, they're still doing it.
Well, I was Billy Murray is from Dundee. We're from the same town,
Oh,
and Billy.
another weaver.
Yeah.
And Billy come and asked me, he said, "Billy, would you be interested in coming to play at Box Hill?" And I said, "Yeah, fair enough." And then he asked me, "Would you like to do some coaching?" So I ended up coaching the reserves and playing the seniors, and I captained the seniors, which was okay. But the problem was, once you get into that coaching mark, you don't want to leave coaching the kids to go and work with the seniors. And on a Saturday, you don't want to leave the players half an hour from the end of their game without a coach. And so at the end of that year, I'd done it for the year, and he said, "Look, Billy, I can't coach anymore. I'm going to have to play. I can't do both."
Mm.
Maybe
To do justice to both.
to do justice to both. And so it was wonderful. And some of the good players we had, Big Donald Brownlee, Ray Taylor, as I say, the 4 young boys. Pedro was just exceptional.
Is that the gift that a coach offers the next generation of players? Is that really what good coaches are meant to do?
I think
Give you confidence, give you a pattern or a system, and something to aspire to.
I would think so. I also think they should give the young players more opportunity. Let them play. Jumping forward, I was at Frankston. Initial strikers asked me to help out, and the senior coach was pushed aside, and they asked me to take over and help them out. The first thing I turned to the right fullback, said, I don't want to play anymore. So I turned to the reserve midfield that I'd known for a long time. I'd coached them from 9-year-old. Says, there's about 12 games to go, 11 games to go. I says, you're the right back to the end of the season. And everybody looked at me and said, how can you say that? Well, it's easy. He's right back to the end of the season. That's the way it is.
Confidence.
That meant the young fellow went in there knowing, no matter what, his name was Jordan Kakao, who's now at Knox, no matter what he'd done, he knew he was playing the rest of the season. Because I'd give him a word.
You took the
So
pressure.
he went,
In some respects, you take the pressure away by giving them a chance to develop.
and that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And he went in, and he was wonderful. Billy Murray done it at Box Hill with all these young players. And then there were those ones, and then there was Greg McLeod.
Me.
He was, he was in and out of the team at that time. But all young players. Peter Varacchia coming as well.
Wow.
It's no coincidence though, we've had two special guests here, Billy and Billy Murray, and our Billy tonight, who went through Box Hill, coached, mentored, played with these
And
young
left
kids.
something special behind.
Left something, but the legacy was that out of that period, the amount of players that were produced by Box Hill can't be just a coincidence that happened. All those
No.
names you've just done,
No.
and the beauty of it is, and this is the love I've got at Box Hill, is currently Brian Venega's the coach there.
Mhm.
And if you're on social media, you'll know that maybe last week or the week before, a young kid got his debut and scored on debut in the senior team. Had been there since he was 4 years old, right?
Wow.
But Brian quickly identified, right, and I'm pretty sure he's posted, I'll ad lib, but it's posted effectively, my job is here is to produce players. Correct. As a coach, you are there to produce players, not to win games.
No.
Not to win
That's the
championships.
reality.
That's the reality, and that's what happens. But a benefit and a side benefit of if you've got good players, you get lucky, you're there to produce and make better people and make players.
Billy, did you get excited when you saw young Daniel Azani being given an opportunity to ply his trade?
Some opportunity.
I would have preferred if they played him from the start and just let him go.
He was never fit enough. I can tell you that from
Is that
inside.
good, isn't it?
Warren Joyce wanted to give him 90 minutes. Do you know all he could play when he first burst into the squad? He could give us half an hour, maybe 40, maybe. That's why he said to him, get to that level and I'll play you. Get to that level. And it was almost like it was a challenge, like a tug of war, and he finally started to produce. And the reason he's not playing for Celtic at the moment is not because they don't want to play him, but Brendan Rodgers has said, I want you to be able to play 95 minutes. Can't do that yet, you see. So sometimes we criticise coaches, and without realising that there's a reason why that player can do something for 20 minutes or 40 minutes, but can't do it for 90. And you would have seen players like that in the
A
past.
lot of players like that.
Yeah.
And you've just got to work with them, and you've got to deal
People
with
don't
them.
realise that a great engine is an extra special that didn't come in the original order.
I coached my grandson, the youngest one, the namesake Billy Ray,
So that's why you played till you were 107.
little red-headed boy.
Still
And
coaching.
I coach 6 days a week at the moment. But Billy, we have him playing, and he's got to go from box to box, side to side, all day. And I kicked him, he said, don't tell me you're tired. It's all in the mind, off you go. And it's not about Billy doing well today, it's to get Billy further down the track. My son Alex was a wonderful player, and the same thing. When he was young, I had him going up and down, and he could do it all day. He played at Sandringham with all those wonderful players that were down there, and he would go and he'd wide right, up and down the touchline. He was just magnificent at it.
The gifts for me, as George has shown me on a number of occasions, when he wants to play with the ball, he plays with the ball. He can do just about anything. He makes it talk. It doesn't make it speak Greek, but he can make it talk. But the other element that he brings is that calmness and that running. That base, that health base, that fitness base allows you to do things that others only think about doing.
You're saying that I played in the over 45 Masters here in Melbourne, and we played in the final. I had a great game in the final. I'd been injured and I played in the final, and I played very well, and I thought, and you know yourself.
Yeah.
With 10 minutes to go of the game, they brought on this sub guy who'd sat on the bench for us called Jimmy Mackay, and he'd come on. And I watched Jimmy for the next 10 minutes, and my goodness, the gap was like trying to compare me to Pelé. It was just, Jimmy was out, and he had gout at the time, he had bad legs, it was just, I was sitting,
The cream still
goodness,
rises.
how
The
good
cream
was
still
this
rises.
boy?
I had the great pleasure many years later when I started the media. Sometimes you get to do some lovely things. We played in a charity match at the LBS Marksfield in Sydney, and the great Mia Baumgartner, yeah,
Yep.
and Karl Jarosz, who were superstars. They still had it. They were 60 years of age, and I would have been 30. They were still fabulous. Fabulous. And we had Craig Johnston, who'd come from on his honeymoon from Liverpool to pay respects to this. I think we were raising money for a worthy charity, and he had promised them he would come back. Imagine, and he did. And it was a wonderful occasion. But I saw a magician still at that age, and the same applied with Ferenc Puskás. When I saw his first training session, and he's there in a suit, and he runs over to the boys who were chatting. And my 2 Channel 9 cameramen looked at me and said, "There's the fat guy." I said, "That's not the fat guy, that's the galloping major." I said, "Mate, he couldn't gallop in a million years." He had 2 shots of goal that I think that were delivered from a corner. And he's hit both past Bruce McLaren before Bruce could move. Not bad, huh? He would have been 66, 7, 8.
I was
So
at-
how did you play till you were 105?
I played till I was 57
What?
At Peninsula Strikers.
He doesn't
I was
believe
coaching-
you.
I was coaching the reserves and I was playing.
That's amazing.
And I had 7 years off. I had a heart attack in
What?
one game, and so it was when I was with Burwood, and I had a heart attack, and I finished the game. I went to the doctor a few days later, and then said, "You've had a massive heart attack." I said, "Don't be silly." And about 4 weeks later, we're finishing the season. So I better not take my boots. I go over there, we're 1 player short, and I said, "I know what, get a ball," and I played. She, my wife found out she was going to kill me.
What's your wife's name?
Irene.
Irene, if you're listening.
I think she knows.
It's almost time for us to wrap up.
It is. Unfortunately, an hour is never enough for our...
William, I don't know how exciting it's been for you, but it's been fabulous for us.
I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Can I just finish off with just something?
Absolutely.
I said to George earlier, many years ago, I was at work and my friend told me about this beautiful woman down the stairs, and I went down and had a look. There's this gorgeous girl there. 2 things. She was gorgeous. Second thing, out of my league. Fast forward 52 years, Ali and I are still together, and we've been married, it'll come up to 49 years soon. So
Happy anniversary.
I'm blessed
Well,
to have met that
we've
lady,
been
and she
blessed
allows
tonight.
me to play and coach the soccer. I do 6 days a week. I'm home on a Friday night, and she goes, "Can you get a job on a Friday night?"
William Ray, what a pleasure to have you on board, and thank you for being our pioneer on Football Nation Radio.
George, thank you very much, and young man, thank you. The
It's
pleasure's
been
been
a
all
pleasure. I
mine.
think we've
Who's next week?
scored young former Juventus goalkeeper.
Oh, thank goodness. Balancing the books up.
Yeah, a goalkeeper. You won't be here.
I'm
apparently.
suspended.
You're suspended. We'll have Alex Fontama. I always get that Fantoma. Will be in the studio with us, and or with me and young Athos, I think.
Yes. Young Athos and Georgia will carry the responsibility of making sure that the messages get out on social media like you wouldn't believe. William, look after all those young people and that great family. And Irene, he's coming home.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're a legend. You're a legend.